comes a moment in every man's life when he has to stop waiting for someone to save him. Not because he doesn't need help, not because he has to carry every problem alone, but because he finally understands one simple truth. Your life is your responsibility. Nobody is coming to live your dreams for you. Nobody is going to wake up every morning and do the work that you keep avoiding. Nobody can build your discipline. Nobody can make your decisions. Nobody can give you the courage to become the person you know you are capable of becoming. At some point, you have to stand up and say, enough. Enough excuses. Enough blaming. Enough waiting for the perfect time. Enough telling yourself that tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow becomes different only when you become different. And becoming a stronger man isn't about pretending that you never struggle. It isn't about hiding your emotions. It isn't about acting tough all the time. It isn't about proving that you're better than everybody else. Being a man means learning to take responsibility for your choices, keeping your word, treating people with respect, controlling your actions, and continuing forward, even when life becomes difficult. It means becoming someone you can trust, someone who doesn't run away from every uncomfortable situation, someone who doesn't need constant approval, someone who can admit when he's wrong, someone who can apologize, someone who can learn, someone who can say no, someone who can say, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. That's strength. And today I want you to understand something. You don't need to become perfect. You need to become responsible. You need to become disciplined. You need to become consistent. You need to become mentally stronger. Need to stop negotiating with every excuse that enters your mind. Because your future is being created by what you repeatedly do today. Every morning gives you a decision. You can repeat yesterday, or you can build something new. You can stay comfortable, or you can grow. You can keep talking, or you can take action. You can keep waiting for confidence, or you can act before confidence arrives. Because confidence doesn't always come before action. Sometimes confidence is the result of action. You take one step, then another. You keep your promise to yourself. You complete the task. You survive the difficult day. You learn from the mistake. And slowly, something changes inside you. You start believing yourself. Not because somebody complimented you, but because you have evidence. Evidence that you can work. Evidence that you can learn. Evidence that you can keep going. Evidence that you can handle responsibility. Evidence that you can change. And that's where real confidence begins. Stop waiting for permission. A lot of people spend their lives waiting for motivation, waiting for confidence, waiting for money, waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for somebody to believe in them, waiting for life to become easier. But life doesn't always become easier. Sometimes you become stronger, and that's the difference. The mountain doesn't always become smaller. You become better at climbing. The problems don't always disappear. You become better at solving them. Fear doesn't always disappear. You become better at moving forward despite fear. That's maturity. You don't need to feel ready. You need to start. If you have a goal, begin. If you have something to learn, learn it. If you made a mistake, correct it. If you hurt someone, apologize. If you wasted time, stop wasting more. If you failed, study the failure. If you don't know what to do next, take the smallest useful step you can see, because a life spent waiting is a life slowly being traded away. And time doesn't negotiate. You can waste a day, then another, and suddenly you look back and realize that months have disappeared. Years have disappeared. You kept saying, someday I'll start. Someday I'll become disciplined. Someday I'll take care of my responsibilities. Someday I'll chase my dream. Someday I'll change. But someday isn't a date. Today is. You don't need to transform your entire life in one morning. You need to make one better decision today. Then another tomorrow. Then another the day after. That's how lives change. Not through one magical moment. Through thousands of ordinary decisions. Take responsibility. One of the most powerful things you can learn is responsibility. Not blame. Responsibility. Blame says everything is somebody else's fault. Responsibility says, maybe I didn't cause everything, but I can decide what I do next. You may not control where you started. You may not control what other people think, You may not control every opportunity, you may not control every problem, but you can control your response. You can control your effort. You can control your attitude. You can control whether you learn. You can control whether you keep your promises. You can control whether you get back up. That's power. Stop giving away your power by making everything somebody else's responsibility. If you made a mistake, own it. If you failed, learn from it. If you need help, ask for it. If you don't understand something, learn. Start catching up. There is no shame in being inexperienced. There is no shame in struggling. There is no shame in asking questions. The shame is convincing yourself that you don't need to grow. A strong person can say, I was wrong. A strong person can say, I need help. A strong person can say, I don't know. A strong person can say, I made a mistake, and I'm going to fix it. That is not weakness, that is character. Keep your word if you want to build confidence in yourself. Start keeping promises to yourself. You don't need to make huge promises. Start small. If you tell yourself you'll finish something, finish it. If you say you'll study for an hour, study. If you say you'll practice, practice. If you say you'll work on your goal, work on it. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you teach your mind that your own words don't matter. Every time you keep a promise, you build trust with yourself. And eventually you become someone who says, I'll do it, and then does it. That's powerful, because the world is full of people who talk, people who announce their plans, people who make promises, people who say what they're going to do. But results don't come from what you announce. Results come from what you repeatedly execute. You don't need to tell everybody what you're building. Build it. You don't need everybody to understand. Keep going. You don't need applause every day. Keep going. You don't need people to believe in you before you begin. Believe enough to take the first step. There will be days when you don't feel motivated. There will be mornings when you don't want to work. There will be afternoons when your energy is low. There will be moments when your goal feels far away. That's normal. You cannot build your life based on how you feel every hour. If you only work when you're motivated, your progress will always be inconsistent. Discipline means understanding that your feelings are information, not commands. You can feel tired and still do something useful. You can feel nervous and still take a step. You can feel uncertain and still learn. You can feel frustrated and still remain respectful. You can feel disappointed and still continue. The goal isn't to become a robot without emotions. The goal is to become someone who can manage emotions without letting every emotion control behavior. You don't have to win every day, but you should keep showing up. Stop comparing your journey. Another trap is comparison. You look at somebody else's success and wonder, why not me? You see someone younger, someone richer, someone more experienced, someone with better opportunities, someone who seems to have everything figured out, and suddenly you feel behind. But you're comparing your entire life to a small piece of someone else's life. You don't know their struggles. You don't know their failures. You don't know how long they've worked. You don't know what they sacrificed. You don't know what happened behind the scenes. And most importantly, their journey isn't your assignment. Your responsibility is your own progress. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Are you learning? Are you improving? Are you becoming more responsible? Are you becoming more disciplined? Are you treating people better? Are you making better decisions? Are you moving toward your goals? That's the comparison that matters. You don't need to become someone else. You need to become a stronger version of yourself. Control your reaction. Life will test your patience. People will disappoint you. Plans will fail. Things will go wrong. You will sometimes be misunderstood, and you won't always get what you want. But you don't have to react to everything. There is strength in pausing. There is strength in thinking before speaking. There is strength in walking away from unnecessary arguments. There is strength in saying, this isn't worth my energy. Not every argument deserves your attention. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every opinion deserves an explanation. Your peace matters. Your time matters. Learn where to spend them. A mature person understands that winning every argument isn't the same as winning in life. Sometimes the smartest response is silence. Sometimes the smartest response is distance. Sometimes the smartest response is improvement. Let your actions speak. Respect people. Being strong doesn't mean disrespecting people. Real strength doesn't require humiliation. Treat people with dignity. Respect your parents. teachers, friends, coworkers, classmates, and strangers. Respect boundaries. Respect differences. Respect people who cannot give you anything in return. Because character is revealed by how you treat people when you don't need anything from them. Anyone can be polite when they want something. Character shows up when nobody is watching. Be the same person privately that you pretend to be publicly. Your reputation is built from small actions. How you speak, how you behave, how you handle responsibility, how you treat people, how you respond when things don't go your way. That's your character. And character matters more than appearance. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is not a sign that you should stop. Sometimes failure is information. It tells you, this method didn't work. This decision had a problem. This skill needs improvement. This plan needs adjustment. Learn, adapt, continue. Imagine learning to ride a bicycle. You don't expect perfection immediately. You practice. You make mistakes. You adjust. You try again. Life works the same way. You don't need to know everything before starting. You need the willingness to learn along the way. Don't let the fear of looking inexperienced stop you from becoming experienced. Everybody starts somewhere. Every expert was once a beginner. Every confident speaker once struggled to speak. Every skilled worker once had no experience. Every successful creator once uploaded something nobody watched. Every strong person had days when they doubted themselves. The difference is that they kept learning. Build your future quietly. You don't have to announce every goal. Sometimes it's better to work quietly. Let people underestimate you. Let people misunderstand your journey. Let your results speak when they're ready. You don't need constant validation. You don't need everybody to know your next move. Protect your attention, protect your time. Protect your focus. If you have a goal, work on it. If you have a dream, create a plan. If you have a plan, execute it. If the plan fails, improve it. Repeat. Your life doesn't need to be a performance for other people. You're building it for yourself and for the people you care about. Learn to say no. A powerful person understands the importance of boundaries. You don't have to say yes to everything. You don't have to attend every event. You don't have to follow every trend. You don't have to accept every invitation. You don't have to respond to every message immediately. You don't have to please everyone. Sometimes your future requires you to say no. No to distractions. No to unnecessary drama. No to habits that waste your time. No to people who repeatedly disrespect your boundaries. No to excuses. No to giving up on yourself. Every yes has a cost. When you say yes to one thing, you're often saying no to something else. H1. Take care of yourself. Strength also means taking care of your health. Get enough rest. Eat reasonably well. Stay active. Spend time outside. Keep yourself clean. Take breaks when you need them. Talk to someone you trust when you're struggling. You don't become stronger by pretending you never need support. Asking for help is not failure. Sometimes the strongest decision is recognizing that you don't have to handle everything alone. Your mind needs care. Your body needs care. Your relationships need care. Your responsibilities need care. Your goals need care. Balance matters. Stop making excuses. There is always an excuse available. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I'm not talented. Nobody supports me. I'm too young. I'm too old. I'm not ready. My circumstances are different. Maybe some of those things are true. But the question is, what can you do with what you have? You may not have everything. Fine. Start with something. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a direction. 1 hour of focused work is better than 5 hours of planning to start. 1 page is better than 0 pages. 1 practice session is better than another day of waiting. 1 application is better than endlessly imagining the opportunity. 1 conversation is better than avoiding the problem. Action creates momentum. H1. Your future self is watching. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. Not as a fantasy, as a consequence. The decisions you're making today are shaping that person. Every hour you spend learning adds. Every skill you develop adds something. Every habit you build adds something. Every responsibility you accept adds something. And every hour you waste also has a consequence. The future doesn't suddenly appear. It is assembled, piece by piece, day by day, decision by decision. So ask yourself, what am I building? If you continue living exactly the way you're living now, where will it take you? If you don't like the answer, change the direction. You don't need to change everything today. Change one thing, then another. Don't let one bad day become a bad life. You will have bad days. You will lose focus. You will make mistakes. You will procrastinate. You will sometimes disappoint yourself. Don't turn one mistake into an identity. You made a mistake. That doesn't mean you are a failure. You had a bad day. That doesn't mean your life is bad. You fell behind. That doesn't mean you're finished. Start again. There is no rule saying that you can only begin on January 1st. You can begin on Monday. You can begin on Thursday. You can begin at 7 a.m. You can begin at 7 p.m. You can begin today. The reset button is often simply a decision. Become dependable. One of the greatest qualities you can develop is reliability. If you say you'll help, help. If you make a commitment, take it seriously. If you have a responsibility, handle it. People should know that your word means something, not because you're perfect, but because you take commitments seriously. Dependability builds trust, and trust takes time to build. It can disappear quickly. So don't chase a reputation. Build character. When nobody is watching, do the right thing. When nobody is praising you, do the work. When nobody knows what you did, do it anyway. That's character. Don't fear being alone. There are moments when growth feels lonely. You may have friends who don't understand your goals. You may be changing habits that your old environment encourages. You may be learning something new. You may be focusing more seriously on your future. That's okay. But remember, being alone for a while isn't the same as being unwanted. Use quiet time to learn about yourself. Read, think, plan, create, practice, rest, and build healthy relationships with people who respect you. You don't need a huge crowd. You need good people. People who encourage growth. People who tell you the truth. People who respect your boundaries. People who celebrate your progress without needing you to become someone else. Be humble. Success can teach you many things, but one of the most important is humility. Never assume you know everything. Keep learning. Listen. Ask questions. Give credit. Help others. Remember where you started. The goal isn't to become so successful that you can look down on everyone. The goal is to become successful enough to lift yourself, and when appropriate, help others too. Confidence says, I can learn this. Arrogance says, I already know everything. Choose confidence. Your attention is your life. Think about how much time you spend looking at screens. Every notification asks for your attention. Every short video asks for another minute. Every argument online asks for your reaction. Every trend asks for your participation. But your attention is limited, and your attention determines what gets built in your life. If you constantly give it away, you may have very little left for your goals. Learn to focus. Put the phone away when necessary. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Give yourself periods of uninterrupted work. You don't need to disappear from the world. You simply need to stop letting the world control every second of your attention. Work when nobody is watching. This is where real growth happens. Not when everybody is watching. Not when you're receiving praise, but when you're alone with the work. When nobody cares. When nobody is asking how it's going. When there are no likes, no applause, no recognition. That's when you discover whether you really want it. Because dreams are easy to talk about. Work is different. The dream says, imagine what could happen. The work says, do this today. The dream feels exciting. The work can feel repetitive. But repetition creates skill, and skill creates results. So do the boring work. Practice the basics. Review your mistakes. Study. Improve. Repeat. You don't need to love every part of the process. You need to respect the process. Don't quit because it's slow. Sometimes progress is invisible. You study and don't feel smarter. You practice and don't feel better. You work and don't see immediate results. You upload and nobody watches. You try and fail. It can feel like nothing is happening. But growth isn't always visible immediately. A seed doesn't become a tree overnight. Skills don't appear after one practice session. Confidence doesn't appear after one success. Keep going. Measure progress over months, not minutes. Your goal is not to feel successful every day. Your goal is to keep building. Learn from people. You don't have to make every mistake yourself. Learn from people who have experience. Read, listen, ask questions, study, observe. Find mentors when possible, but don't blindly copy everyone. Think. Take useful lessons, apply them to your own situation. Your life is unique. Use other people's knowledge as a map, not as a replacement for your own judgment. Control your money. Learn basic financial responsibility. Understand what comes in, understand what goes out. Don't spend everything simply because you have it. Learn to save when you can. Avoid unnecessary debt. Understand what you're buying. Think before making large financial decisions. Money isn't everything, but learning to manage it can reduce unnecessary stress and increase your options. Don't measure your worth by money, but don't ignore financial responsibility either. Your future self will thank you for making thoughtful decisions today. Build skills. One of the best investments you can make is learning useful skills. Communication, writing, technology, problem solving, leadership, time management, critical thinking, financial literacy, whatever fits your goals. Skills increase your options. The more you can learn, the more adaptable you become, and the world keeps changing. So stay curious. Never become the person who says, "That's enough. I don't need to learn anymore." There is always another level. Be patient. Patience doesn't mean doing nothing. Patience means continuing to work without demanding instant results. You plant. You water. You wait. You continue. You learn. You adjust, and eventually something grows. Don't destroy your progress because you're impatient. Don't quit because success didn't happen as quickly as you imagined. Don't compare your timeline to somebody else's. Your journey has its own pace. Keep moving. Have courage. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action despite fear. You may be afraid of failure. Start anyway. You may be afraid of rejection. Try anyway. You may be afraid of criticism. Create anyway. You may be afraid of change. You don't need to feel fearless. You need to become willing. Willing to try. Willing to learn. Willing to fail. Willing to improve. Willing to begin again. That is courage. Forgive yourself and move forward. Maybe you've made choices you regret. Maybe you wasted time. Maybe you trusted the wrong person. Maybe you missed opportunities. Maybe you didn't take yourself seriously enough. Learn from it. But don't live there forever. The past is a teacher. It doesn't have to be your prison. You cannot change yesterday, but you can influence tomorrow. So take the lesson. Leave the shame. Become the person you respect. At the end of the day, ask yourself, do I respect the person I'm becoming? Not, do other people like me? Not, do people think I'm successful? But am I proud of how I behave when nobody is watching? Do I keep my word? Do I treat people well? Do I work toward my goals? Do I learn from mistakes? Do I take responsibility? Do I have the courage to change? Those questions matter, because your relationship with yourself is the foundation of everything else. Your life is still being written. Maybe today isn't where you want to be. That's okay. A chapter isn't the whole book. If you're behind, start. If you're confused, learn. If you're afraid, take a small step. If you're tired, rest and continue. If you failed, adjust. If you lost motivation, build discipline. If nobody believes in you, don't let that become an excuse to stop believing in your own ability to grow. Your story isn't finished. There are still skills to learn, people to meet, mistakes to make, lessons to discover, goals to chase, experiences to live. You have time to become better. Use it wisely. Don't just listen to motivation. Use it. Because motivation without action is entertainment. You can watch hundreds of motivational videos, You can save thousands of quotes. You can write goals on paper. But none of that matters if you don't move something. Clean your space. Finish your assignment. Start the project. Practice the skill. Have the difficult conversation. Organize your schedule. Read the chapter. Apply for the opportunity. Work on your goal. Take the next step. Not because you're guaranteed success, but because action is how you find out what you're capable of. You don't need to prove yourself to everyone. There will always be people who doubt you. Some will criticize you. Some will misunderstand you. Some will underestimate you. Let them. You don't have to spend your life trying to convince everybody. Your energy is valuable. Use it to build. Use it to learn. Use it to improve. Use it to take care of the people you love. Use it to create something meaningful. You don't need universal approval. You need self-respect and a clear direction. When life gets hard, don't immediately assume that everything is over. Pause, breathe, think. Break the problem into smaller pieces. Ask for help if needed. Focus on what you can control. Take the next step. One problem at a time. One day at a time. One decision at a time. You don't have to solve your entire future today. You only need to handle what is in front of you. And if something feels overwhelming, talk to a trusted person. Strength doesn't mean carrying everything silently. Strength means responding wisely. Don't waste your potential. Potential means nothing without development. Talent. You can be intelligent and still avoid work. You can have opportunities and still fail to use them. Potential is only possibility. Discipline turns possibility into progress. So don't keep saying, I have potential. Show it. Practice. Learn. Create. Improve. Take responsibility. Build something. Let your habits reveal your potential. One day you will look back. One day you'll look back at this period of your life. You'll remember the choices you made, the risks you took, the lessons you learned, the people you met, the habits you built. And I want you to be able to say, I didn't waste it. I did my best with what I had. I learned. I grew. I kept going. I became more responsible. I became more disciplined. I became more courageous. I became someone I could trust. That's the goal. Not perfection. Progress. Not popularity. Character. Not appearing strong. Becoming strong. Not controlling other people. Controlling yourself. Not proving that you're better than everyone. Proving to yourself that you can become better than yesterday. Final message. So listen carefully. You don't need to become a different person overnight. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to know exactly where your life will end up. But you do need to take responsibility for where you are going next. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for everyone to approve. Stop waiting until you feel completely confident. Start with what you have. Learn what you don't know. Fix what you can fix. Accept what you cannot control. Take responsibility for your choices. Keep your word. Respect people. Protect your attention. Build useful skills. Take care of yourself. Stay humble. Stay patient. Be courageous. And when you fall short, don't disappear. Come back. Try again. Learn again. Build again. Because becoming stronger isn't about never falling short. It's about refusing to let one difficult moment define your entire future. You are not required to be perfect. You are required to keep growing. You are required to take your responsibilities seriously. You are required to make choices that your future self can respect. And remember this, being a man isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It's about being dependable when things get difficult. It's about having the courage to admit when you're wrong. It's about respecting yourself without disrespecting others. It's about controlling your actions, instead of letting every emotion control you. It's about working towards something meaningful. It's about protecting your values. It's about learning. It's about responsibility. It's about character. So stop asking, when will my life change? Ask, what can I change today? Then do it. One decision, one habit, one action. One day at a time. Because your future is not built in one giant moment. It's built in the small choices you make when nobody is watching. So stand up, take responsibility, get focused. Keep learning, keep building, keep moving, and become someone you can trust. Be strong enough to face reality, humble enough to learn, disciplined enough to continue, courageous enough to begin, wise enough to ask for help, and patient enough to understand that meaningful growth takes time. Your story is still being written. Make the next chapter count. Be responsible, be disciplined, be courageous, be kind, be dependable, be better than yesterday, and most importantly, become the person you know you are capable of becoming.